is going on, everybody? It's Gia here representing Gia's World, and I'm discussing the unarmed innocent man that police accidentally shot in North Miami, okay? This is brought to me from CNN.com. I'm going to leave a link to this article in the description box below. Going to read a little bit and then going to discuss it from my perspective and my analysis. CNN, the police shooting of an African American caregiver who was lying in the street trying to help an autism patient was accidental, according to the local police union representing the North Miami officer. The officer had intended to shoot the patient, whom he thought posed a danger, but accidentally shot caregiver instead, said John Rivera, the president of Dade County Police Benevolent Association. Charles Kinsey, a behavior therapist, was shot Monday by police, an accident which has sparked outrage. Footage released by Kinsey's attorney showed his client lying on the ground holding both hands in the air next to a 23-year-old man with autism. Riviera offered an explanation Thursday, saying the police officer opened fire because he thought the white individual, whom they learned is a man with autism, was going to harm Kinsey. Now, I'm not going to read all of it. Like I said, you can read the rest. To me, that is a crock of BS. First of all, why do police always, it seems to be, every time we hear about these stories and cases and situations, why are the police always using excessive force in the first place? This also shows that a lot of these police officers have absolutely no training with dealing with people who may have mental issues or psychological issues. They have no training. This 23-year-old man is autistic. So you mean to tell me you're going to shoot an autistic person, possibly kill an autistic person? And you end up shooting the behavior therapist that was trying to calm down the 23-year-old man. But instead, you shoot him. He's laying on the ground, hands up, and he gets shot. Once again, it's excessive force. It's unnecessary, and something has to change. Policies need to be looked at. Policies need to change to fit and be, up to date with current times. And also, we have to hold these police officers and these unions accountable. We have to hold these policies accountable. We have to make sure that they're truly being upheld. Because right now, all we have is a bunch of unarmed people either being shot, killed, or discriminated against, racially profiled by police officers, left and right. Okay, this is an ongoing situation. Florida also is always in the news for something. Remember the famous situation with Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman, where Trayvon Martin was walking back home from purchasing Arizona iced tea and a bag of Skittles and was shot and killed by a vigilante neighborhood watchman, George Zimmerman. Also, Florida is known for being a stand your ground state, okay? Where people can at will enforce, excessive force if they feel that they're being threatened, which this is all, very subjective, because I could say the boogeyman is scaring me and, shoot that person, and then it could honestly be a 3-year-old shadow, and then you just shot a 3-year-old. So it's very subjective, and we really, I don't think there should be a stand your ground law. I just don't. Because it really leaves it up to that individual to say they felt that they were threatened, and being threatened can mean many things to different people in different scenarios, okay? Also, the way the stand your ground law is functioning, it's not equal, because Marissa Alexander shot some warning shots, okay, to warn her abusive ex-husband not to come into the house. And guess who ended up going to jail? Marissa Alexander. Guess who was faced with a 20 years prison sentence? Marissa Alexander. Guess where she was from? Florida. Guess where she was at when she shot the warning shots? Florida. So we see that law is not being upheld equally when it comes to people, and it's very subjective, and it shouldn't even be a law to begin with. But back to the situation at hand. Mr. Kinsey was shot trying to help a 23-year-old autistic person. He was trying to calm this person down, and the police shot him, Charles Kinsey. So this is crazy. And then we have the union, we have the police union coming in. And I'm going to be honest, I live in Michigan. And those who know, Michigan is a union state for the most part. Even though we have Republicans and our Republican governor, Rick Snyder, basically busting up unions and destroying unions. Unions have their pros and cons, okay? Unions are supposed to be there to protect the worker from the exploitation of their employer, right? But a lot of times lately, we've seen where unions have just been as corrupt as the employers. Okay, they've been just as corrupt as the corporations that they're supposed to be protecting the employees from. And there are times where, as we can see, you have a police union that's trying to justify shooting an unarmed person. We can't do that. The police officer who shot Charles Kinsey should be held accountable, and he should suffer the consequences for it. There shouldn't be a union trying to protect someone who clearly is using excessive force. And what if Kinsey would have died? What if he would have died? And I'm sorry, but when you shoot at somebody, there's a huge chance that that person will not only suffer great bodily harm, but possibly die. So once again, excessive force with the intent to kill. I'm sorry, but we need to start holding these police officers accountable. These policies need to be upheld. You should not be shooting at unarmed individuals. And then this also goes to show what many of us have been saying since day one. These police officers do not have adequate training dealing with, mentally unstable or unhaired people. Because what if the 23-year-old autistic man was by himself? He would have got shot and killed probably. Just saying. And if a person is trying to help this person in a calmly respectable manner and they get shot while trying to help, come on. These are the type of people that are on your police force. And this isn't just in one city. This is not just one isolated incident. This is across the country where we have police officers who are using excessive force, police brutality. And then this is the culture that we're living in, where guns are just, we're using guns to kill. Violence is everywhere in this country, in this world. This is a culture that's been going on for centuries. Something has got to give. That is my 2 cents on the situation. I hope that Charles Kinsey, he recovers well and he gets the justice that he deserves. And something's got to give, people. People keep getting shot or killed left and right. Something's got to give. Also, this shows that even when people are complying, once again, Philando Castile was complying and was shot multiple times and was killed by a police officer. Here we are with Charles Kinsey. He's complying. He's laying on the floor. He's laying on the ground. His hands are up and he's shot. So miss me with, well, if they would just comply and do what the police tells them to do, there wouldn't be any police brutality. Nobody would get hurt. Nobody would get killed. That's a bunch of bullshit. That's a bunch of malarkey. Because even when people are complying and following orders and doing what the police tells them to do, there is still a chance, a possibility for excessive force and police brutality. And this is another example. And this is exactly why we need to do something about this immediately. We can't just keep coming on YouTube making videos. We can't just keep marching and protesting. We actually need things to be changed and upheld, and people need to be held accountable and responsible for their wrongdoings, because this is a continuum of excessive force, police brutality, and violence. Enough is enough.